Life has a way of throwing curveballs. They always say it likes to take way more than it gives, and you never really see it coming, do you? Those big moments that define and shape your life forever. I know I didn't see it coming for me. I mean, I was only 16, and my biggest fear was flunking out of trigonometry. How could I ever have expected anything earth-shattering to happen in my life? I transferred to Marjorie Stoneman Douglas the beginning of my junior year, about 2 years ago. New opportunities and beginnings excited me with the endless possibilities of what was to come. In all honesty, the beginning of my junior year was probably the best time I ever had in high school. I actually remember discussing this with a friend of mine about 2 weeks before it happened. I don't think we could have ever predicted what was about to come and how it would change us for the rest of our lives. But then it did happen. Something unimaginable, something you read about or hear on the news and think, well, that can never happen to me, not here. But it did happen. So when I heard the code red come on over the intercom, I thought it must have been a drill at first. I thought it must have been fake because there was no way this was really happening here in our small town of Parkland. But it was happening, and it did. 14 classmates and 3 faculty members were killed at my school on February 14th, 2018. 17 more were wounded, and the rest of our community was left in severe shock. Time after that seemed to move differently. The hours felt like days, and the days felt like hours. I couldn't fathom what had happened. I couldn't let myself believe it was real. I found myself in an endless cycle of just watching the news day in, day out. And a lot of my friends felt the same. In a word, broken. I knew I had to do something to get my mind off of everything that was going on around me, something to take me away from my cycle of just watching the news. But I didn't feel comfortable speaking out politically about gun violence or anything like that. That was never really something I would do. And then picked up my guitar and I played a song that had been running through my head. Did you stand there all alone? Oh, I cannot explain what's going down. I can see you standing next to me. In and out, somewhere else right now. You sigh, look away. I can see clear as day. Close your eyes, so afraid. Hide behind that baby face. Do, 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 do. You can drive all night looking for the answers in the pouring rain. Wanna find peace of mind, looking for the answer. If we can find a reason to stay. Standing in the pouring rain, you can find a reason to change. Looking for the answer. I must have played that song at least like 30 times in a row until my fingers were numb. I don't know why, but the lyrics seemed to comfort me and the melody seemed to carry me. I couldn't understand it then, but I understand it now. The impact music can have on the mind is incredible. I didn't feel any less sad or angry or confused or lost, but I felt a sense of comfort in my sorrows, like no matter how bad and dark things are now, I knew deep down that one day they were going to get better. But trying to make sense of the senseless is a difficult thing. I was talking to one of my close friends, Andrea Pena, about everything we were feeling. And then we realized all of these emotions we had bottled up, we could turn them into something else. Reaction becoming action. And we turned to what we knew best, music. We wrote a song so raw and so real to everything we were feeling. We first wrote it with the intention of just getting everything out. It was like our own little source of light in a time so dark. We never really planned on sharing the song with that many people. We took a quick little recording on our phone and sent it to our parents and some close friends and our drama teacher, Melody Hertzfeld. Well, Hertzfeld ended up sharing it with someone who was running the CNN town hall, and next thing we knew, we were getting a call asking to perform the song we just wrote live on national TV. The town hall was one of the many forms of activism my community would engage in after the shooting. We didn't know what to expect. After the sound check, they told us that we would be closing the event live on the air, and we sat during the town hall and watched two opposed views play out on stage. There were government leaders, law enforcement, a representative from the NRA, and our community, including students from my school and family members of the victims, all debating on the topic of gun violence. The atmosphere was tense, to say the least. By the end of the night, I felt like we never would come to an agreement on any of the issues we were there to discuss. And then the camera turned to me, my co-writer Andrea, and 5 of our drama friends. We took a breath, we stood, and we sang. You're not gonna knock us down, we'll get back up again. You may have hurt us, but I promise we'll be stronger, and we're not gonna let you in. We're putting up a fight. You may have brought the dark, but together we will shine the light, and whoa, we will be something special. Whoa, we're gonna shine. And while we were singing the song, something happened. There was a glimmer. The same glimmer I felt while writing the song with Andrea. Like a bridge was being built from despair to hope. I looked out into the dark arena and I saw a light. And then another and another and another until the whole arena was filled with lights off people's phones. It felt like, for the first time that night, instead of arguing with one another, people were coming together and standing as a community. Music was building another bridge then, but it wasn't just for me and Andrea, it was for our whole community standing as one. It was then that I realized one way to affect change is to bring people together, to give them hope for a common cause. And music is one of the most effective ways to do that. I didn't know that this would be my journey and that this would be where I ended up simply trying to heal from trauma. But the more I look at it, the more it makes sense. The response our community gave us to the song filled us with so much light. Just seeing how everyone could react to the song made us realize that people can come together even in the darkest of times. The song then took on a life of its own and worked its way into a message of hope. And we called the song Shine. If we hug a little tighter, we can love a little more. Laugh a little harder, we can stand up and roar. If we all come together, it will be alright. Stand fight. The song and the lyrics reflected what we so desired. A future where we and our classmates could find hope and could learn to move forward and could persevere, not just as political opponents, but together as a community. The response our community gave us to the song made us realize we had to turn that message into a reality. Since then, Andrea and I have been doing our best to work and help with other victims of trauma. We created our nonprofit, Shine MSD, which advocates for healing through the arts. Through the funds we raised with the song and generous donations we received, we were able to open a free arts therapy summer camp. Music and art has been able to help so many of the campers start to build their own bridges towards recovery. But trauma on any level is an up and down slope. Healing is not linear, but there are things we can learn to help make it a little easier. Creative arts therapy is extremely effective with young people. Sitting in a room surrounded by peers, talking about your feelings and what you've gone through, it's not exactly for everyone. Neither is a one-on-one session with an adult, even one who is more than qualified to help. To be effective, the person in need of help has to feel comfortable. The trick is being able to create a safe place where they can express themselves freely, talk about their trauma. That's why we created Camp Shine. Camp Shine is a groundbreaking summer program that is completely designed by and run by the nation's leading creative arts therapists. It takes time for people to be able to speak of the unspeakable, and some may never be able to put those feelings into words, and they don't have to. Art has always been a good medium for victims to articulate their feelings and talk about their trauma. It's also well documented that art is extremely helpful for therapists to understand the person for whom they're caring. But it's not just a means of expressing yourself, it's therapy. It's a coping mechanism for victims to triumph over tragedy. Simply put, art can make you feel better. I mean, that is, of course, the story of Shine. For us, writing the song, the lyrics, all of it, it was healing. It helped us, and it helped others too. Utilizing creative arts elements such as graffiti and painting and drama and, of course, songwriting, Camp Shine creates a safe place for people to talk about what they've gone through and express their emotions with activities they're actually excited about doing. But what I didn't know, and what I have learned more recently, is that music can be used for so much more than moving forward. It can also be used for moving the world. Since writing Shine, I've realized how much music can help a movement to grow. I've met some great songwriters from great movements, such as Peter Yarrow from Peter, Paul, and Mary, who performed at the March on Washington in the 60s during the Civil Rights Movement. He saw Shine performed at the March for Our Lives in DC and told me he saw something very similar between our two performances that took place 55 years apart. He told me that a movement without music is like a bird without wings. You can make people listen with words, but you can make them feel with music. Last summer, we had the ability to combine the storytelling part of music along with the healing aspect of music. 40 students got paired with 10 songwriters led by Peter Yarrow to create 10 new songs. The students were able to express how they feel and just talk about anything they wanted to through these songs. They were able to perform all these songs at a concert we held in September called the Concert for Change, where students demanded an end to gun violence. The main purpose of activism is to create a conversation. As William Hazlitt once said, the art of conversation is the art of hearing as well as being heard. There's a difference between listening, and hearing. Music allows you to not just listen to what is being said, but to actually hear it and comprehend it. Many people believe that music is the conscience of society, and there's a big reason why I think this is true. I mean, it's the great equalizer, crossing language and cultural barriers. It builds a bridge over divides, and it's the universal language that unites this very diverse world that we live in. This message is beautifully contained in a song written by Michael Franti called Flower in the Gun, which he performed at our concert in September. He poetically writes, "We could be the healing when you're feeling all alone. We could be the reason to find the strength to carry on. In a world that's so divided, we shall overcome. We can be the healing. We can be the flower in the gun. We can be the flower in the gun." One goal of activism is not to tell the other side that it's wrong, but to attract the other side to your message. Music is a powerful tool that allows us to unite people for a common cause. One problem we have today is that everyone's so quick to jump to one side or the other. No one really listens to anyone anymore. But I believe music is one way we can help solve this problem. When people start to feel together, they can start to work together. Feelings are what unite a group of people. How can we ever expect to ensure a more peaceful future for generations to come if we're not willing to listen and work with one another? Music teaches you to listen. It teaches you to relate. Anyone has the ability to relate to a song if they feel they can connect to it, no matter what political affiliation they have, no matter where they're from, no matter who they are, no matter who they love, no matter what. They can relate to a song, and that's that. Because music has the power to draw people together. But this talk is not just for songwriters and musicians. It's for everyone to learn the same message that music has taught me. Music can build a bridge towards hope. It can build a bridge towards healing. And it can build a bridge towards unity. I believe music has the power to change the world. Funny how it seems like yesterday, as I recall, you were looking out of place, gathered up your things and slipped away. No time at all, I followed you into the hall. Cigarette daydreams. You were only 17, so sweet with a mean streak. Nearly brought me to my knees. You can drive all night, looking for the answers in the pouring rain. Wanna find peace of mind, looking for the answer. If we can find a reason to stay. Standing in the pouring rain, well, you can find a reason to change. Looking for the answer. If we can find a reason to stay. In the pouring rain, you can find a reason to change. Looking for the answer. Thank you.